Afghanistan continues to face violence despite the ongoing peace talks between the Taliban and Afghan government, which is being mediated by the United States after the war against terrorism launched in 2001. The meeting in Doha is the result of U.S. Taliban peace deal signed in February this year. Until now, the Taliban refused to meet the government, calling them powerless and American puppets. We have a report. The United States observed the 19th anniversary of the 9/11, a series of 4 coordinated terrorist attacks by the Islamic group Al-Qaeda. It coincided with the peace talks between Afghanistan government and the Islamist group, who finally met in Doha with the goal of bringing an end to nearly 2 decades of a conflict that has destroyed the country and killed tens of thousands of people. Abdullah, who is the chairman of the High Council for National Reconciliation, said he hopes for a humanitarian ceasefire and a long-lasting peace, and they wish to end the violence through a political settlement. Abdullah also emphasized on protecting women's rights, which many have feared will be eroded if the hardline Islamist militants would gain formal power.
The legitimate demand of our people and the aim of peace is to end the war and violence through a political settlement. Our people want a system based on the Constitution, and they ask for the strengthening of stability of the country because they have suffered enough and experienced the worst in the absence of a functioning system. The current conflict has no winner through war and military means, but there will be no loser if the crisis is resolved through submission to the will of the people.
However, establishing a mutual and long-lasting ceasefire and the integration of Taliban into the Afghan government still seems difficult. Taliban have long been worried that reducing violence could give them less leverage at the negotiation table. Moreover, there are several ideological differences between the US-backed government and the Taliban, which still envisions a strict Islamic system for Afghanistan instead of a democratic and constitutional setup.
موږ غواړو چې افغانستان یو خپلواک، مستقل، متحد، پرمختللی او آزاد هیواد وي او یو داسې اسلامي نظام ولري چې د ولس ټولې پرګنۍ پکې د کوم تبعیض پرته خپل ځان وویني، یو د بل سره د ورورولۍ په فضا کې په پوره صمیمیت سره ژوند وکړي.
The talks were a key outcome of the separate peace deal signed by the United States with the Taliban and Afghan government in February this year. But the talks were being delayed due to constant violence by the insurgent group and the dispute over the release of 5,000 Taliban prisoners and 1,000 Afghan soldiers that was laid out as a precondition for talks. Now, political observers say that bringing both the warring sides on the negotiating table is a major victory for US President Donald Trump, who campaigned on ending the war in Afghanistan and is eager to see progress ahead of elections in November. According to him, there would be less than 5,000 American troops in Afghanistan by election day. As a result, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo urged the warring sides to seize this opportunity to strike a comprehensive peace deal while acknowledging many challenges lay ahead.
The United States doesn't seek to impose its system on others. We believe firmly that protecting the rights of all Afghans is indeed the best way for you to break the cycle of violence. Of course, I can only urge these actions. You will write the next chapter in Afghan history. We hope this chapter is one of reconciliation and progress, not another chronicle of tears and bloodshed. We urge you to make decisions that move away from the violence and the corruption and towards peace and development and prosperity.
Meanwhile, representatives from several countries, including India, were also present at the intra-Afghan talk ceremony. India's External Affairs Minister S. Shankar stressed upon the need of an immediate and comprehensive ceasefire. and sought commitment that Afghan soil would not be used for anti-India activities.
Any peace process must be Afghan-led, Afghan-owned, and Afghan-controlled. And most important, the issue of violence across the country and its neighborhood has to be effectively addressed. The rising levels of violence cannot be allowed to continue, and like others, we support an immediate comprehensive ceasefire. Our friendship with Afghanistan is strong and unshaken. We have always been good neighbors and will always be so. Our expectation is that the soil of Afghanistan should never be used for any anti-India activities.
Though the Afghan government and the Taliban have initiated the discussion regarding the future of Afghanistan, peace is still far from guaranteed. Taliban is continuously killing dozens of Afghan security forces and civilians even after the launch of historic talks. Meanwhile, several reports revealing the Taliban's constant relations with Al-Qaeda and other Pakistan-backed terror groups pose a serious threat to the stability of Afghanistan. There are apprehensions that in such an endless and uncertain situation, U.S. withdrawal could leave the war-torn country back to the status quo of the years prior to 2001.